Let's talk about 1899, Netflix's latest mind-bending mystery series from the creators of Dark. Dark was a huge success with Netflix, so it's no wonder why they've been invited back for more. I'm gonna give my honest review of 1899, sharing my own personal thoughts and feelings on the show, which means there will be major spoilers ahead. Firstly, I'm gonna provide the setup of the show before sinking beneath its stormy depths a few more fathoms. We all set sail on the Kerberos, a ship which is transporting passengers of all races and classes to the new world of America to start afresh. This includes Maura Franklin, the show's main protagonist, played by Emily Beecham. She's a trained doctor of neurology who is travelling alone. As the show progresses, we spend time with a lot more passengers having an insight into their lives, including a stowaway named Jerome, a rich Spaniard named Angel travelling with his partner Ramiro, who is posing as a priest, a young Chinese woman named Ling Yi, to name but few. And we also get a look at some of the crew as well, most notably the ship's captain Larson. This show has an abundance of characters to play with, for better or worse. Better because it means that the world has a bit more flesh to it, worse because there are a lot of threads tangling together at once, so here and there, focus from the main juicy bits of the show can pass you by a little bit. Those juicy bits surround the overarching premise of the show. There's a ship said to have mysteriously vanished in recent times called the Prometheus, a ship owned by the same company that the Kerberos belongs to. So while travelling along the same shipping lanes, the Prometheus is encountered and investigated. The slow burn setup of the first two episodes here really had me hooked. What exactly happened to the Prometheus? Why is the only survivor of whatever did happen a boy holding a mysterious black pyramid? I was fixated and gripped here, and I adored the show's aesthetic. It's dark and gritty, a series of deep blues that reflect the misery of harsh storms while at sea. And the set of the Prometheus, abandoned and decaying, being slowly ambushed and harvested by the oceans, is really gorgeous. In fact, the set design and production quality of 1899 all across the board for the entirety of the series was simply gorgeous. Plus, despite its plethora of characters that made it hard to juggle at times, I think it was also a very well acted show, with Aneurin Barnard as the mysterious Daniel Solis as my highlight. Just something about him, his constant appearance as though he's always drenched, his unsettling expressions, his eyes distant yet focused. He really stood out to me here. Another thing that stood out was the soundtrack. Not only was the centerpiece of the score captivating, with that kind of feminine moaning with slightly ritualistic influences, but oh my days can these guys pick a song. Everything from Black Sabbath's The Wizard to Jimi Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower, and even the modern spin on Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit for the show's title sequence, on top of hearing the original version within the show itself. It all fits so bloody well, and the lyrical relevance of White Rabbit fits here too. It's a song influenced by Alice in Wonderland, where there's a very different, strange, unbelievable world hidden away within the real world. So much so that the same song was used in the trailer for The Matrix Resurrections. Less said the better. And that theme links directly to 1899 also, where as the show progresses, the illusion of the Kerberos begins to break down, showing us exactly what the point of everything is. This, however, was something I personally struggled with though. I think that the show presented its psychologically testing elements a bit too early. Literally at the end of the second episode, you can see people being observed on monitors. In 1899, there weren't any monitors, so already you know that something's up. You know the characters aren't really in 1899. The ship isn't a real ship. They're in some kind of experiment in a future time period. I think that just gave the game away, and from episode 3 onwards, I became increasingly less invested in all that mystery and suspense that the first two episodes provided up until the climax. Because it takes a good chunk of episodes before we begin to properly explore those themes again. Yet the show tries to keep up that illusion of mystery aboard the Kerberos, despite we the audience now knowing doing that is pointless. It goes down more of a direction of who the observed passengers are and what their backstories are. I personally think it would have been much better had that monitor reveal not happened until after we explored the backstories. It's a shame because there's some really solid, in principle, twists that happen a bit later in the series, such as Captain Larson believing he was once the captain of the Prometheus, before we get a reveal that there are countless more abandoned ships just like the Prometheus. This is due to the world being a simulation that resets itself every 8 days, and none of the ships ever arrive at their destination. As cool as those twists were, they'd have been so much more impactful had we not had the illusion of mystery broken so early on, because the multiple ships twist doesn't happen until the very end of episode 6. Those middle episodes to me didn't serve any purpose in the engagement department, and when you boil it down, the show doesn't really need to be as long as it is. This could have been 8 half-hour episodes, or 6 at the 50 to an hour mark, because when you identify the core story beats here, over half of the series is this: Kerberos travelling to America, stops to check the Prometheus, captain wants to tow it back, passengers rebel against the captain, illusion finally broken, and that right there is over 5 hours worth of the show. And I fully understand they've got to bulk out the series with character development, but when the main attraction of the series is the mystery, I think it missed the mark here. Imagine in something like Cube, where rather than keeping you engaged in the mystery of what the cube is and why everyone's there, we get cutaway sequences to them with their families or going to work or something. Don't know if that's just a me thing, but that would zap me right out of that leaning forward in the chair type curiosity I get when shows have cool puzzling situations that they want you to analyse and crack while you are experiencing it. It's all part of the fun, that whodunit mentality of trying to solve the plot along with the characters, stitching the viewer into the narrative. In 1899 though, less than 2 hours in, I lost that feeling completely and sadly couldn't regain it. Even prior to the monitor reveal, there were several things that still led you down that path of everything not being what it seemed. Everything from the glitching editing style in both the show and the title sequence, to stuff like the song choices being more contemporary in comparison to the 1899 time setting, to the trend of characters having the words "wake up" whispered to them while their eyes are open before fully waking up on the Kerberos. The hints were applied super early on, and I do wish they'd have prolonged those elements further back. When we do get into the back half of the series and the revelations unfold that everything is a simulation within a simulation, the show kind of felt a little bit vanilla. A lot of it is about the creator and additional twists that felt like they'd been put in for the sake of it, like Mora and Daniel being the mother and father of the young boy, and Mora being the creator. Don't get me wrong, the ultimate climax here, that everyone is on a spaceship and that Mora's brother she's been looking for took over the simulation program, and in fact the Prometheus is a spaceship mission in the year 2099. I kind of felt a little bit of intrigue for where this is going to head in future, but when you have those few sludging episodes of people walking around the simulation, luckily finding hatches to other parts of it with relative ease despite being invisible, and recycled analogies brought up like Plato's cave, the back half of 1899 did just lose its grip on me, and I almost feel like this one has a bit of the don't worry darling issue of it coming across like it thinks it's way more clever and original than it actually is. But I still really enjoyed that film, probably because I didn't have to wade through 7 hours of it. Perhaps another issue with 1899 is that the hype surrounding it from just how well Dark did could have been its Achilles heel. A lot of people were expecting the show to be about the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle, something which was never properly announced, but public assumptions set in, not at the fault of the people working behind the show of course. They can't prevent anticipation or preconceptions. However, here I in hindsight genuinely think that doing some kind of crazy exploration of the Bermuda Triangle's mystery and applying a fictional spin on it would have been far more interesting than everyone's in a simulation. It almost felt like a far too obvious out to me. 1899 is a series that is dripping with style. It's aesthetically triumphant with some good acting, but I think it got a bit too caught up in itself trying to be mind-blowing when my version of reality is it was just kinda okay. But of course, I'm just one regular guy who watches stuff, not a critic, and my words are yours to interpret. So with that being said, I'd love to hear what you thought of 1899. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, as well as if you agree or disagree with anything I've said. And that's completely fine, because that's what subjectivity and honest reviews are all about. I'm Connor from Unleash the Ghouls, and I shall see you on the other side of the simulation. Cheers out.